Resuming debate, the honourable member for North Island, Powell River.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm very proud to be here to talk on this important issue, but I'd like to start off first by saying that I will be sharing my time with the member from Vancouver Kingsway. So today we're here to talk about something incredibly important, and that's dental care. We know that across Canada, many Canadians are not able to afford the basic dental care. And I just want to read into the record here so the constituents of North Island Powell River know what we're talking about. The motion that the NDP has presented today simply says this, that the House call on the government to change its proposed tax cuts by targeting benefits to those who earn less than $90,000 per year and to use those savings to invest in priorities that give real help to Canadians, including dental coverage for uninsured families making less than $90,000 per year. Now, I have to say that in my riding, this is a significant challenge. And during the election, I was very surprised by how many doors that I knocked on where people said to me very clearly, this is one of the best parts of the platform that the NDP is presenting, is affordable dental care that will really help people. You know, in my riding, there's a lot of particular challenges on this issue, and I really want to take this opportunity to do a specific shout out to Compass Dental, which is in Campbell River. And one day a year, on usually a Saturday or a weekend day, dentists from that dentistry, Compass Dental, from Shoreline Orthodontics and Pier Street Dental, also come in together. And what they do is they provide free dental care to members of the community. And I remember a couple of years ago, and I just want to make sure everybody knows that there may be other dentists that have added to this list, but when I went a couple years ago, the reception staff were absolutely amazing. And what they said to me is there is a huge line out the door when they arrive early in the morning of people hoping that they'll get an opportunity. And all those dentists, they work hard every moment of that day to provide the dental care that people so desperately need. And when I look at that, I'm so grateful to that dedication, that commitment in the riding, but I also just face the reality that many people are desperately in need of dental care and have no way of being able to afford it. So I can't imagine how hard it is for them to have to turn people away, but that is in fact what's happening. I've also heard stories. I remember in particular talking with one mother who talked about the reality that at the end of the year, she's paid for her children to go get their dental care, but she simply can't afford her own dental care. So, you know, putting parents in a position, and I think every parent would do that, they would sacrifice for their children, but it's not right that the costs are such a barrier. I also think of one constituent who's now 56 years old and has had 6 teeth pulled in the last 10 years. So, Mr. Speaker, she's down now to 1 chewing tooth. I can't imagine that. And so her plan, looking into the future, she knows that she needs implants or dentures. She doesn't know how she's going to afford them. So her plan is blending her food. How is it in a country as rich as this, where we're seeing the government give significant amount of monies to MasterCard and to Loblaws, profitable businesses that are doing quite well for themselves? That seems to be the priority, rather than people who just want to have their teeth taken care of. It's a simple, basic need, and in Canada, as rich as we are, we should do better. And that's really why we're here today. So in December, our finance and health spokespersons for the NDP wrote a letter to the finance minister saying, look, here's a real opportunity, an opportunity to collaborate and work together. And they asked the Liberal government to cap the middle-class tax cut that they're proposing for people earning over $90,000 and use that money as a down payment to cover uninsured people making less than $90,000 in this year, which, Mr. Speaker, you'd be amazed to learn is about 4 million people. So, you know, as I'm sitting here in this place having this discussion about the needs of individuals in our country for the most basic dental care, it really brings to mind the truth of this place, which is financial choices are political choices. And who are we going to support in this country? Are we going to support people who are making a significant profit at the end of the year? You know, I remember when this government in the past parliament gave significant dollars to Loblaws to help them with more energy efficient refrigerators. And I'll never forget one of the local business owners in my riding emailing my office and saying, "Where's the money for my refrigerator?" A small amount of money would make such a significant difference in the life of my business and the prosperity of my business. Where do we get that kind of support? You know, and I represent a really rural and remote community. So on top of the challenges that are faced by people who have lower incomes or who have very expensive dental care, which means you could be having a good wage, a decent wage, it's keeping everything pretty sustainable. But if you have a very expensive dental procedure that you need to take, sometimes people just simply can't do that. And I think, you know, when you look at the challenges of just moving around my riding already, adding this is just another layer. So I think when we look at these issues, we have to say to this government, when you make choices about how to spend money, you're also making a political decision about who you value in this country. And I hope that all of the government will stand up and support this motion, because what it really speaks to is valuing the most vulnerable people in our country, providing the support for people, and the stories are so many. And I heard them when I was knocking on the thousands of doors that I knocked on. People who were embarrassed to go and apply for work because their teeth are not in good shape. People who are needing basic dental care. It's getting to the point that it's painful and they're going to the hospital to get a tooth removed rather than actually getting the care when they need it, which can provide huge health concerns for them later on in life. You know, I'm just really aware of the fact that in 2000, the year 2000, there was a place in this country where we honored corporate contributions. We understood that corporations in Canada, big multinational, multi-million dollar corporations were making a significant amount of money, and they were doing it on the resources of this country and on the labor of the people who live in this country. And so there was a corporate tax that was at that point 28%. And when I think about the change to today, where we're down to 15%, we have these huge corporations that are making significant amounts of money. And I want to be really clear, I'm not talking about those corporations in my riding that are doing well and looking after their people. I'm talking about big multinational, and I mentioned a couple of them earlier. MasterCard, Loblaws, significant revenue every year. And there was a time when they paid that 28% tax. And basically, to me, that was understanding that the resources belong to Canadians in this country, that the labor that was coming were the people who lived in this country, and the corporate tax meant that we would not have people suffering to such a high degree when other people were prospering. So here we are today having this debate. We're asking the Liberal government to take this seriously, to understand that, you know, sort of like pharmacare in the last parliament, and it's continuing in this parliament as well, keep pushing it down the road. Let's do another study. Let's not talk about the core issues here. When people are struggling to afford their medication, they should be the priority, not big corporations. When people can't afford the most basic of dental care, they should be the priority, not the rich and well-connected. This is a choice, and I'm really sad to see a lot of people here speaking from the government side, not seeing a pathway to get to this motion. You know, I just want to be really clear to the constituents that I represent. This is a motion in the House. There was another motion that was passed unanimously in this House a little over a year ago to make sure that every penny that was given to our veterans at the end of the year, all of the leftover money would go into the next year to support veterans, because we know that there are so many challenges and barriers. And here we are again. We saw that they didn't follow through in that motion as government. They made a choice to vote but not to support it. And here we are again having an important motion which just says we value people who have less. We value them more than people have a lot. And today we're going to make sure that they get the dental care they so desperately need. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.